After 10 years of heartbreak, I discovered an incredible truth that transformed my life forever. Emily Greene felt the weight of the world as she scrubbed the grease-streaked counters at Lucy's diner. The clatter of dishes was a dull echo of her father's laughter, a memory that flooded back each time she took in the sight of the dilapidated family home waiting for love that would never come. Her father, a beloved mechanic, had dreams bigger than the small Midwestern town that cradled them. She remembered the way he had talked about building a workshop for kids, a place where they could tinker and explore. But that was before the illness, before the hospital visits, before the emptiness seeped into their lives. Now it felt as if an unbearable silence followed her every step. Her father's dreams buried in the dust. One afternoon, with restless energy gnawing at her, she found herself sifting through her father's old tools in the musty garage. The smell of oil and rust swept over her as she opened a dusty box hidden away in the corner. Each letter inside revealed her father's deep yearning to help the community, to empower the youth. Rage welled up inside Emily as she read about the countless barriers he defaced, obstructions she now recognized as all too familiar. Why hadn't he mentioned this dream? Was he afraid? Did he think it impossible? And what about her? Why had she let his aspirations fade while she buried herself in the dull monotony of cafe life? Just then, guilt pinned her to the ground. A nagging thought crept in: what if she failed to push back against the societal boundaries her father struggled with? Something inside her throbbed with determination, but it was tangled with doubt. She had spent years in the shadows of grief and mediocrity, watching others thrive while she hesitated, locked in place by heartbreak and fear of living up to a legacy that now felt impossibly daunting. Before she could spiral further, the ding of the diner door distracted her. A familiar face, Greg, a family friend, flashed a charming smile, filled with enough charisma to brighten the room. Yet, beneath his friendliness lay something sharp and pointed. She sensed it. As he approached, she noticed the shadows behind his eyes, clouds of insincerity that threatened to sweep her dreams away. What was he doing here? "Emily, you're working way too hard. The town needs to see your father's vision as I saw it," he said, but there was an underlying current that sent shivers down her spine. What did he mean by his vision? Her chest tightened. Suddenly, the seed of camaraderie felt poisoned. Was he eyeing her father's project for his own gain? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. A surge of anger pushed against her uncertainty, the thought of Greg seizing her father's dreams igniting a fierce need for action in her chest. But to step into the fight meant confronting not just him, but the depths of her own fear. Could she really face the bureaucratic maelstrom that had crushed her father and still stood in the way? If she failed, would it mean crushing the last remnants of her father's legacy along with her own self-worth? With each passing moment, the stakes rose, leaving her teetering on the edge of a decision that felt monumental. Could she bring her father's forgotten dream to life? Or would she be thrust back into the shadows of grief, suffocated by the weight of expectations unmet? As Emily stood there, doubt intertwined with a fierce glimmer of hope, she could feel the impending storm of choices bearing down on her, irrevocably changing the course of her life. Would she embrace the challenge, or would the shadows consume her efforts? Emily stood frozen, her heart racing as Greg's smile began to feel more like a smirk. All those years spent in the haven of Lucy's diner, serving the same plates, and listening to the same conversations felt increasingly irrelevant. The memories of her father's laughter faded into the background, and in their place grew a neural map of ambition she didn't know she possessed. "Greg, what do you mean by that?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. He laughed lightly, brushing off her question with an airy gesture. "Oh, you know what I mean. It's time to turn his dreams into a reality. I can help you with that." Emily felt the tension tighten in her chest. What sounded like an offer of support bore the weight of ulterior motives. Why was he so eager to jump into this vision of her father's? She couldn't shake the feeling he was more intrigued by the prospect of profit than the dream itself. "What exactly do you have in mind?" she responded, leaning against the diner's counter for support. Her legs trembling slightly, he moved closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. There's interest in the community, especially with the younger generation. I know some people who would love to invest, but we need to get your father's plans on paper first, make it look appealing. With every word he spoke, Emily felt the resolve knot in her gut. This wasn't her father's dream, it was a business scheme in disguise. Her dreams of honoring his legacy morphed into a tightrope act. The mere thought of allowing Greg to steer this venture only fueled her determination to reclaim it. As the thoughts whirled in her mind, she glanced around the diner, recognizing how each familiar face seemed oblivious to the emotional tempest brewing inside her. Her father's tools, the letters detailing his passion, and the desire to uplift the community now felt like a delicate flame within her that Greg threatened to snuff out. For the first time in years, a sense of clarity washed over her amidst the chaos. She realized she had a choice to define her own path and bring her father's vision to life, on her own terms. But the fear of failure loomed large. What if she failed to live up to his legacy? What if, in reclaiming her father's dreams, she lost herself in the process? I need time to think, she finally replied, regaining composure. Greg's disappointment was palpable, yet she could feel the burden of indecision begin to lift just having set a boundary. As Greg left, the diner felt heavier in his absence, the noise around her fading into an echo of possibility. Alone at the counter, she closed her eyes, envisioning a workshop filled with laughter, creativity, and children discovering their potential, just as her father had imagined. Could she really do this? Driven by a newfound determination, Emily made a plan. The first step would be to dive deeper into her father's manuscripts, piecing together his visions and finding a way to bring them to fruition. But as she moved to finish her shift, she hesitated, a troubling thought coursing through her mind. What if she delved into this dream and uncovered something darker? A secret her father had buried deep within those papers. With the clattering of dishes intensifying around her, Emily felt the weight of uncharted territory approaching. The moment of initiation into her father's world was at hand, threatened by conflicting loyalties, a creeping doubt, and her desire to succeed where he had faltered. Tomorrow would bring the first stride toward her father's dream, but it would also present a reckoning she was not prepared for. What truths lay dormant amid the tools and letters of the man she both admired and mourned? Morning light filtered through the diner windows, illuminating the dust motes that danced lazily in the air. Emily was already at the counter, a mug of coffee cooling beside her as she scoured her father's manuscripts, pages filled with his unique penmanship and layered thoughts. Each letter seemed to speak to her, urging her to unlock the potential woven into the fabric of her father's dreams. The weight of the decision ahead loomed over her like a dark cloud, but the spark of determination ignited by her confrontation with Greg refused to be extinguished. She lost herself in the pages, deciphering faded ink and complex diagrams, trying to grasp the essence of her father's joy and pain. As she pieced together his vision for the workshop, she found moments of clarity in the chaos, passionate descriptions of community involvement, vibrant classroom settings, and minds sparked by creativity. She felt the gnawing anxiety of whether she could even come close to executing it all, but alongside that worry, a fiercer sense of purpose began to unravel within her. With a pen in hand, she scribbled ideas on a notepad, transcribing her father's dreams into a new narrative, her narrative. How could she take this vision and transform it into something that honored him, while also representing her identity? Each word flowed more smoothly as she let the ideas take shape, free from Greg's expectations and the suffocating grip of doubt. Then, as she turned a page, her breath caught. A neat drawing caught her eye, a concept model her father had sketched for the workshop, right down to the layout of the rooms. Underneath it, a short note read, "Empowerment through creation." The words resonated, sending waves of inspiration coursing through her. She envisioned a place where fear was absent, where children could explore their interests without judgment. Yet the feeling of elation was swiftly followed by a tide of apprehension. Could she truly give that to the children? Was her capability growing in sync with her ambition, or was this just a fleeting surge? Fueled by a reckless mixture of hope and trepidation, Emily planned her next steps. She would need to gather feedback from community members and gauge interest in the workshop. Reaching out to her father's old friends, she could gather support in a way that anyone would respect. with or without Greg's backing. The prospect both thrilled and terrified her. This was a venture she couldn't afford to fail, but the lurking doubt nagged at her. What if her father's friends, the very people she sought for guidance, had different ideas for his legacy? Each of them had their own opinions, and what if they compared her efforts against their expectations of her father's vision? Determined to confront these fears head-on, she decided to not only reach out to others but also to confront her own assumptions. That night, she dedicated herself to crafting an email to her father's closest friends and colleagues, seeking a meeting where she could listen to their insights, gather their stories, and share her vision as she typed. Each keystroke carved deeper into her resolve. By the time she hit send, she knew she had crossed another threshold. It wasn't just about her father's dreams anymore. It was about her journey transforming those dreams into something larger than her own fears. But before the weight of joy could settle within her, a new thought materialized. What if Greg got wind of this initiative? Would he recognize her independent steps? And if he did, would he come back around with fresh ideas aimed at chasing her goals down the very path she sought to reclaim? The realization that her past was creeping back into her future filled her with dread and determination. She was prepared to face what today would bring. But tomorrow threatened to unravel her newly woven plans in an instant. Emily closed her laptop, staring out the window as the sunlight now cast long shadows on the pavement outside. The weight of the unknown awaited her, and while anticipation lingered in the air, she felt unwavering in her pursuit. The next chapter loomed with the threat of confrontation, as she began to wonder. Could she truly defend her path against the very forces that sought to control it? The next day dawned with a torrid sky, the sunlight fragmented by thick clouds. Emily sat at the same diner counter, her coffee untouched, nerves electrifying her fingertips. She replayed her father's words in her mind, empowerment through creation. That mantra, once cloaked in the mist of her doubt, now shone as a guiding light. It drew her towards a purpose that felt elemental but also frightening as the minutes ticked by. Emily's heart raced with anticipation. Today, she would meet with her father's friends, a group she had often viewed through the prism of intimidation. They weren't just reminders of her father's legacy. They were living embodiments of his creativity, each carrying fragments of his spirit. Would they see her for who she was becoming, or critique her measured steps against ideals she felt unworthy of? With meticulous calculations, Emily rehearsed the points she wished to discuss. She prepared to unveil her vision, yet a shadow of fear loomed within her. The prospect of passionate discussions energizing her yet again took on an edge of fear. What if they preferred the past? She reminded herself of her resolve. This was her journey now. Upon entering the small sunlit gallery where they had agreed to meet, the warmth of a diverse collage of paintings enveloped her. Familiar faces awaited her, each framed by years of memories and shared laughter with her father. There was Anna, his old teaching colleague, whose laughter was as vibrant as the colors splashed across the walls, and Ray, a sculptor who had always seen the world through artistic vision. Emily. Anna's exclamation was both a greeting and an embrace. It's so good to see you. We've missed you. Emily inhaled deeply, her nerves settling momentarily as she joined the circular arrangement of mismatched chairs. Conversations swirled around her like flocks of birds, the banter weaving joyful nuances that instantly connected several streams of her past with her present endeavors. Once the chatter began to quiet, she felt a gentle nudge within. I'm here to talk about the workshop, she stated, her voice steadied by the pouring out of the words. I want to honor my father's legacy by creating a space where creativity ignites empowerment for everyone. The silence that followed felt heavier than the clouds above. It was uncertainty, but perhaps it was also intrigue. Ray broke the stillness, his brows furrowing. What does empowerment look like to you? Emily's breath hitched, but as she made eye contact with Anna's encouraging grin, confidence surged through her veins. It's about allowing everyone to express themselves without walls. It's about fostering a place for children and adults alike to explore without fear or judgment, like my father did. She shared her ideas, passion burning bright as she outlined plans for workshops, community art displays, and open discussions. The shift in the room was tangible. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the air, mixed with thoughtful pacing as some wrestled with the implications of her vision. But then a voice cut through her exhilaration, sharp and direct. Greg, who had quietly entered the room, a bemused expression plastered across his face. Is this your plan? To throw together a bunch of classes? You have no idea what real empowerment takes, do you? His derision hung painfully in the air, as if arguing the very essence of her message. The engaging warmth around Emily froze. Uncertainty flickered like a dying flame. Her resolve trembled, but she felt the burning need to confront him head-on. "Maybe I don't," she declared, her voice steadier than the tumult in her heart. "But I'm not going to find out by running away. Would you rather I crumble and let this disappear or stand and try?" A murmur of support rose from those around her, but Emily's focus remained on Greg. She could feel the gravity of the moment pressing down. The eyes of friends watching, expectations thickening the air. Could she truly stand her ground against Greg, someone who had controlled so much of her narrative? The stakes felt higher than ever, but Emily knew slipping now would undermine the blossoming pathway she had begun to carve out from her father's legacy. As Greg's face contorted with disbelief, the tension felt poised to reach a breaking point, her determination against his condescension. This wasn't just discussion. It was a confrontation, a testing ground for her resolve and future. In that charged silence, Emily stood taller, ready to wrestle with both her past and the ambitions she yearned to fulfill, or risk losing it all in an instant. What would this encounter ultimately reveal? Emily felt the room shift around her, the collective breath of her father's friends hanging in the air, waiting for her next move. Greg's skepticism pierced through the hesitation of the moment like a needle through fabric. She clenched her hands, feeling the rough wood of the chair beneath her palms, grounding herself as if the physical sensation could siphon the tension radiating from her core. "You can't dismiss what I'm trying to build just because it doesn't fit your idea of empowerment," she shot back, her voice gaining volume. "My father believed creativity was the pathway. He taught that everyone deserves a space to explore their voice. This is my tribute to him." The fervor in her words ignited flickers of agreement amongst the group. Anna leaned forward, her blue eyes bright with encouragement. "Emily's right. Creative expression is transformative. It changes lives, including ours." But Greg didn't waver. "That's all well and good, but dreams without a plan are just whimsy," he countered, arms crossed defiantly. "You need a concrete vision, and I'm not sure you have one." A flash of anger surged within her, igniting something primal. As she searched for her words, she felt the weight of each pair of eyes upon her, demanding. They were allies and adversaries. She could turn them into her support or let Greg's words haunt her. "Every plan starts with a dream," Emily replied, her tone cooler but purposeful. "What I have is a vision. I may not have all the answers now, but I'm asking for a chance to develop it, to pursue it. Isn't that better than letting my father's legacy wither?" Greg's expression shifted, imperceptibly at first. Maybe there was a crack in his armor, or perhaps surprise flickered through his skepticism. She pressed on, determined not to lose momentum. "This is about embracing the messy, the uncertain. Nothing truly great ever started perfectly. The essence of art is its evolution." The gallery buzzed with whispered agreements, some of the more supportive voices rising slightly above the din. Anna chimed in. "We all started here, didn't we? Many of us were once lost, unsure of our paths until we just leaned into our art. Emily deserves that support." Each voice that joined Anna's strengthened the fabric of Emily's resolve. She could hear the tide of encouragement rising. But even as reinforcement surrounded her, doubt slithered in. What if they were only being kind? What if Greg's criticism bore some truth? The flickering sensations of uncertainty rekindled in her chest, a gnawing feeling that maybe she was making a colossal mistake. Then she noticed Ray, who had remained silent, his sculptor's hands steepled in thought. "Emily, empowerment isn't just a workshop or a class. It's that visceral connection to creativity. If you provide a platform, you must also pave the way for those struggling to find their voice." Her heart raced again, but this time it was anticipation, not fear. "Exactly," she replied, emboldened. "What if I started from the ground up? Listening to what artists and community members want and need? I could hold forums, exhibitions that aren't just showcases but real conversation starters, real creative empowerment." Greg's expression remained critical but softer now, a slight tilt of his head suggesting he was beginning to absorb her enthusiasm. "Then show us," he challenged. "Prove there's depth in your vision. Plan that forum. Gather the people. Bring something tangible to the next meeting." A whirlwind of thoughts engulfed Emily. Just a few minutes ago she had stood on the precipice of self-doubt, and now she felt a leap of possibility. The room didn't feel oppressive anymore. It crackled with energy, a hive of ideas ready to align. "I will," she affirmed, surprised by the resolve surging within her. "I'll make it happen." The atmosphere shifted yet again. Encouragement washed over her from others' nods, affirming smiles. Emily was ready to embrace the messy uncertainty ahead. She would confront the challenge and turn it into an opportunity to prove herself. As the meeting wrapped up, she felt a charged connection to her father's legacy, transformative power igniting in the air. She was determined to carve a new path, but the looming question remained. What true confrontation would arise in the effort to bring her vision to life? Outside the gallery, the clouds that had loomed heavy earlier dissipated, allowing slivers of sunlight to pierce through. It was in this brink of uncertainty that Emily felt the stirrings of confidence, alongside the remnants of fear. What awaited her in the quest to solidify her plans? What challenges would she face now that she had committed to action? The moment of truth effortlessly approached. Emily stepped out of the gallery, the sunlight streaming into her face like a resounding affirmation. The air felt crisp, infused with possibilities. As she walked down the sidewalk, she replayed the exchanges from the meeting, each voice of encouragement echoing in her mind. But beneath the exhilaration was the flickering uncertainty of what she had promised to do. The weight of expectations pressed on her shoulders. Her father's legacy and the future of her vision were now intricately tied together, and failure loomed like a specter in the back of her mind. Doubt, that familiar adversary, whispered insidious thoughts, urging her to question if she was ready. Could she really bring together a community, provoke discussions, evoke change? Lost in thought, she nearly missed the art supply store on the corner. An idea struck her. A gathering of artists could blossom organically if she simply created an open space for their voices. She felt a spark ignite within. A plan was beginning to form, but it would require more than just enthusiasm and hopes. Back home, she sat in front of her desk, her father's ornate wooden chair creaking beneath her weight. Before her lay a blank notebook, the pages tauntingly empty, each one a testament to the work that awaited her. As she picked up a pen, she hesitated. This was her first step into uncharted territory, and navigating through the messiness would demand both vulnerability and strength. She decided to sketch out her vision. Opening the notebook, she wrote in broad strokes: Forum for artists. Create, communicate, collaborate. With each word, the plan became clearer, transforming from a mere dream into a tangible possibility. She methodically laid out ideas for potential topics, ways to structure the event, and a vision of collaboration rather than mere exhibition. The core of empowerment, she realized, would rest on authenticity. Hours slipped away as she focused on her plans, and with each list item she checked off, a layer of apprehension peeled away. Ideas flowed. She began to envision a space not only for showcasing art, but for discussions enriched by personal experiences and insights. Conversations that could reshape narratives, impact lives. This could become a gathering not just of artists but of storytellers. Yet, Greg's challenge lingered, an underlying current urging her to put her heart into action rather than merely words. She needed a platform, a stage to encourage the hesitant, to stir the stagnant waters of complacency. The looming deadline of the next meeting burned in her mind, compelling her to refine her plans. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Emily reached out to artists, friends, and even strangers, inviting them into her vision. Some showcased curiosity, while others expressed skepticism. Each conversation was a confrontation with her fears and doubts. Would anyone show up? Would they care? Voice after voice challenged her resolve, but amidst the negative echoes were bursts of encouragement. A notable painter expressed interest in leading a conversation, a photographer offered to document the journey, and a playwright shared insights that were both inspiring and humbling. As days turned into a blur of planning, a realization struck her: she was not merely hosting a discussion, she was crafting a community. A community was not born in a day, but rather through constant interaction, where artists both led and followed. She started to understand what Ray meant. This project was about connection, not just creativity. But as excitement washed over her, something deeper loomed: a fear that was more visceral. The more she built, the more she was at risk of falling. What if this dream began to carry her father's name only to tarnish it? Or worse, what if she failed to bring the promise of transformation? Doubts surged, more prominent than they had been in days. Emily's alarm sharpened. She was right on the edge of something big. The confrontation waited, not just with others but within herself. Would she have the courage to step fully into this vision, even at the risk of disappointing those she admired? Each night, she lay awake wrestling with the enormity of her commitment, and the looming question of her personal evolution became a relentless companion. The meeting day approached a juncture where boldness would either blossom or flounder. Would the effort illuminate her path or leave her in the depths of uncertainty? Determined, she closed her notebook and took a deep breath. The moment had arrived to embrace the vulnerability of stepping into her destiny. But as she stood to turn off the lamp, a thought struck her. Transforming the world around her would require confronting the shadows lurking within her own mind. What hidden fears would she have to conquer in this journey ahead? The day of the meeting dawned, casting an uncertain light over Emily's morning routine. The coffee brewed with an aroma that normally comforted her instead filled her with unease. She stood by the kitchen window, staring down at the bustling street below, each figure a reminder of the world she hoped to engage. As she sipped her coffee, she felt the subtle tremble of possibility marred by the thick presence of self-doubt and the mirror. Her reflection gazed back, eyebrows drawn tight in concentration. The past weeks had transformed her, catalyzing a change both daunting and enlightening. But behind her determination lay a web of anxiety. Would she deliver what she promised? What if standing in front of others, articulating her vision, exposed the cracks in her resolve? Smoothing her hair back, she reminded herself that authenticity was her strongest ally. This meeting wasn't just about conveying ideas. It was about inviting experiences. Each artist held a world of narratives, and if she could just create a spark, that fire could spread. Whispers of Greg's challenge rang in her ears, pushing her toward a deeper introspection. What if you fail? Resonated within as she jostled her notes, still overwhelmed by the volume of preparation. In those moments of doubt, a more insidious realization surfaced. Perhaps her insecurities were more potent than she anticipated. Perhaps it wasn't only about the potential of her father's legacy, but about her own identity, her past disappointments entwined in the present. Determined to cultivate resilience, she flipped through her notebook, thumbing past sketches of ideas, engagement strategies, and potential outcomes. Yet, each page turned was also a reminder of the high stakes she was risking. What would happen to her if this venture fell flat? The weight of those thoughts pressed on her chest like a heavy stone, but she knew she couldn't remain paralyzed by fear. Arriving at the gallery, she greeted the familiar scent of fresh paint mingling with the scent of the open coffee bar. The room pulsed with anticipation, artists setting up their displays, laughter and chatter bubbling as they prepared. Emily's heart raced as she scanned the space. Energy vibrated within four walls, yet she felt like a spectator in her own narrative. This wasn't just another meeting. It was a pivotal moment, an opportunity to confront the very nuances of her self-doubt. Inspiration seemed to manifest around her as artists began taking their places. Each transaction of conversation urged her into action, igniting embers of her earlier enthusiasm. As attendees began to filter in, Emily stood by the entrance, a ghost of her former hesitance momentarily fading into resolve. She had deliberately positioned herself where the energy thrived, her pulse syncing with the rhythm of animated discussions blossoming around her. "Emily," a voice called. She turned to see the notable painter from those earlier conversations, a smile brightening her spirits. "I'm ready to lead the talk. Just let me know when you want me to jump in." In that moment, a fleeting glance of hope cut through the veil of apprehension she had cocooned herself within. This was no longer just her plan. It evolved into a collaborative effort, a tapestry threaded with shared aspirations. Yet, as she opened her mouth to respond, words caught in her throat, a reminder of the very fear she struggled to dismantle. What if this connection fractured her further? Regaining her composure, she reminded herself of her journey thus far, the countless conversations and shared vulnerabilities, the bravery to invite honesty into a world threatened by criticism. "Let us give it a few minutes more for everyone to settle in," she finally said, her voice steady despite the turmoil raging inside. Shoulders squared with renewed conviction, Emily looked around the gallery, a sense of belonging weaving itself into her spirit. However, just as quickly, A question struck again, a direct confrontation with herself that she couldn't avoid. What part of her past was she still carrying, and how would it let go? As she took the stage, the energy coursing through the room electrifying every fiber of her being, Emily stood on the brink of a revelation, not just about her vision, but her truth. If she wanted to evoke change and stir creativity, she would need more than strategies. She would have to shed the armor of her past failures, embrace the parts of herself she often feared would drag her down. Would she summon sufficient guts to confront the ghosts that shadowed her commitment? The time had come to not just speak her truth, but become it whatever the cost. Emily stood at the edge of the stage, her heart pounding in her chest like a thunderous drum. The faces of the audience blurred into a mosaic of anticipation, each pair of eyes piercing through her layers of doubt. They awaited her voice, her vision. But what they didn't know was that behind her polished facade lay a tempest of fears begging for release. The spotlight felt hot against her skin, amplifying her insecurities. What part of my story am I willing to share? She thought, grappling with the shadows of her past that lingered just out of reach. The crowd had come to listen to an idea, yet all she could focus on were the familiar echoes. You're not enough, you will fail, and what if they see you for who you truly are? Shaking off the weight of those voices, Emily recalled her conversations with Greg. Authenticity connects, he had insisted on multiple occasions. Her path forward didn't depend on a rehearsed speech or bullet points. It required raw truth. She closed her eyes for a fleeting moment, embracing a sense of clarity. What if my failures are part of the fabric of my narrative? She thought. That realization sparked a flicker of strength, stirring a courage previously dormant. Let us start with where I come from, she began, her voice steadying as she leaned into the personal. The audience shifted, intrigued. My father poured his soul into his art, hoping to leave a legacy. But along with that, I inherited his doubts, his fears. For a long time I hid behind them. She paused, weighing her next words, recognizing the delicate balance between vulnerability and strength. I thought that if I stood in the shadows, I'd avoid judgment. But what I've learned is that hiding only extends the reach of those very ghosts. She continued, her tone imbued with newfound conviction. Each of you has faced challenges, whether it's a brushstroke that never quite matches your vision or a gallery that rejected your work. At a certain point we must ask ourselves, what is that failure teaching us? The energy around her shifted. Heads nodded in comprehension. The momentum grew as she revealed little pieces of her journey, the rejections that once paralyzed her, and the moments of unexpected clarity, when she chose to engage despite the fear. Emily could see her audience leaning in, a collective heartbeat synchronizing with hers. Their shared struggle seemed to dissolve the distance between them, transforming her self-doubt into a communal narrative. Yet, amidst that connection, a poignant thought emerged. Could she retain authenticity while shedding her armor? Would her rawness forge deeper bonds or lay her bare before judgment? The internal conflict hummed softly beneath her words. Spotting a woman in the front row, tightly gripping the sides of her chair, Emily felt a powerful urge to reach out, not just to the audience but to that singular soul frozen in fear. Imagine stepping onto a stage like this, she challenged, meeting the woman's eyes. What happens when you allow your truth to guide you? It was less about calling her out. It was about extending an invitation, a promise that transformation was possible. In that heartbeat of connection, Emily realized this wasn't solely about her awakening. It was about facilitating an awakening in others. The ghosts' whispering warnings faded into a chorus encouraging bravery. Each hesitant soul in the room craved authenticity, and her journey provided the thread that might connect their disparate experiences. As her voice finally trailed off, she stood in the quiet moment of reflection. Applause erupted as the realization settled within her, a reward not for perfection, but for courage. But beneath that wave of validation, another question brewed. This moment was only the beginning. What would she do with this momentum? After stepping down from the stage, a fire ignited in her soul, igniting connections she never dreamed possible. The feedback was nearly overwhelming. Artists approached her with stories, with gratitude, even with their own vulnerabilities laid bare. Yet, as she engaged, another unsettling thought arose. Was she prepared for the deeper work of transforming this dynamic energy into something lasting? This question still hung in the air as she looked out the gallery windows into the world beyond. uncertainty reappearing in the periphery of her vision. Would she be able to harness this newfound power and lead not just herself but others towards an uncharted realm of potential? The future felt both thrillingly ambiguous and daunting. Emily stepped away from the exhilarating buzz of post-speech interaction, finding herself retreating into a small alcove adorned with artwork that seemed to provide a sanctuary from the overwhelming energy of the gallery. She leaned against a cool wall, allowing her breath to steady. Still lingering in the air were the echoes of applause, a strange mix of triumph and trepidation swirling within her. With the reality of the moment sinking in, she felt uncharacteristically restless. Despite the applause, a gnawing sensation of uncertainty clawed at her. Did I share enough? She pondered, each thought ambushing her confidence like a tumultuous wave. Would the connections made in those fleeting moments dissolve into memories as stagnant as before? Or was this truly the dawn of something richer? Her heart raced, fueled by the urgency to take action. Glancing back into the gallery, Emily noticed the woman she had locked eyes with earlier. She caught her gaze again, this time emboldened. It wasn't merely about her own fears anymore. It was evident that the energy she had ignited in herself touched others deeply. The realization was both a relief and a burden. What would happen if she withdrew now? Those connections could very well fade like the applause. Could she forge a path that extended beyond just one impactful moment? Determined, she made her way back towards the center of the gallery, this time operating on sheer instinct. Her mind churned with visions of facilitating deeper dialogues amongst the artist people like the woman who had inspired her. What if she created a space where stories unfolded not for applause but for healing? A collective experience that asked each participant not just to witness but to engage. What if I curate a series of workshops? She whispered to herself, her pulse quickening with every possibility. Each workshop could focus on various aspects of vulnerability, breaking down barriers that left them isolated. In that moment, a spark of determination ignited. This was how she could channel her momentum, turning fleeting connections into lasting transformations. Gathering her breath, she stepped back into the crowd, her voice emerging from a quiet reflection. If you're interested in sharing more than just an evening, consider joining me, she proposed, her words weaving effortlessly between artists as they moved briskly across the space. Let us delve deeper into our stories, explore the failures we all face, and maybe unearth skills we didn't know existed. Emily sensed a shift. The air thickened with possibility. Eyes widened, heads nodded, and an undercurrent of excitement grew as her invitation hung palpably in the space. Yet, as she surveyed the faces lighting up with intrigue, a rush of fear seized her. What if they don't come? A familiar voice crept in, echoing the doubts she had addressed head-on moments before. The audacity of her vision flashed doubts that could douse her fire. She fought against her insecurities, her voice steady, though her insides curled with anxiety. I can't do this alone, she continued, desperation tinged with authenticity coloring her tone. This requires all of us. It's not just about courage, it's about community. As connections sparked and conversations unfolded, Emily noticed not just the engagement within others, but a reflection of herself, a germinating confidence that was taking root. However, insecurity whispered suggestive doubts at the edge of her consciousness. Would the initiative flourish, or would her efforts crumble under pressure as they had in the past? Among the gathered crowd, the same woman emerged again, stepping forth, her voice hesitant yet energized. I want to join, but how do we ensure it's different this time? As Emily opened her mouth to respond, her heart raced. The weight of her response seemed to carry implications beyond what she imagined. Could she manifest the space she envisioned? Would her leadership foster true transformation? Or would the fragile budding of potential slip away like water through fingers? The moment felt monumental. In waiting for an answer, Emily discovered a deeper sense of resolve. The fear that gripped her heart also contained the swelling potential of all her experiences. Before she could even begin to formulate her reply, another voice merged into the chorus. When do we start? Her gaze landed on the woman again, now driven by excitement and a challenge brimming within. Emily inhaled deeply, intuition guiding her response, each heartbeat resonating with turning tides. She knew one thing for sure. Whatever lay ahead wouldn't mirror the past. It would be a journey as unpredictable as the shifting gallery light outside. one that demanded every ounce of courage she could muster. And as she looked into the eager eyes around her, a fervent question ignited her purpose. Ringing loudly in her mind, was she ready to lead them into the unknown? Or would these new possibilities crash and burn, leaving her with yet another painful reminder of failure? The air pulsed with expectation, but this time, it also felt like a promise. Emily stood at the forefront of the gallery, the weight of expectation enveloping her in a warm embrace. Weeks of preparation and self-reflection coalesced into this pivotal moment, an opportunity to redefine not only her father's legacy but her own identity. Standing before this eclectic assembly of artists, her heart pulsed with a combo of fear and excitement. "I want to honor my father's dreams by creating a community space for empowerment through creativity," she began, her voice steady as the murmur of anticipation faded into an attentive hush. Gone were the shadows of self-doubt that had once silenced her. Today was different. Today she embraced vulnerability and strength in harmony as she spoke. Stories of her father's aspirations, the letters and sketches illuminated her narrative like beacons. "My father envisioned a workshop where kids could explore, tinker and imagine without boundaries. It's not just a nostalgic dream, it's a vibrant blueprint for our future." With each word, the visuals in her mind flickered and flowed into the atmosphere, energizing those around her. She could hear murmurs of agreement ripple through the crowd. Their shared enthusiasm had the power to transcend her fears and cement the community she longed to build. Invoking her own experiences, she continued, "Empowerment isn't just about the skills we learn. It's about the connections we forge, overcoming individual struggles together, creating a platform for voices often unheard." The rich tapestry of faces around her began to reflect shared energy, and she felt their collective support unraveling the tapestry of isolation. The atmosphere shifted as she challenged them directly. "I need you, your talents, your vulnerabilities. Together we can create a sanctuary where creativity thrives. A forum where failure is embraced, not feared." With that, she extended an invitation beyond the initial meeting. To facilitate discussions, artist-led workshops and open forums, her heart raced as she articulated the vision anchored in her journey. "Let us create a mosaic of voices, each contributing to a canvas far more intricate than we could alone." Greg's skepticism crept back into the forefront of her mind, as she sought to capture the essence of her father's dream, while affirming her own identity amidst its legacy. Would they see the depth of her vision? When the crowd erupted into applause, it no longer echoed just in celebration of her words. It felt like collective empowerment, each clap affirming their commitment to create. Yet, as the noise settled, she confronted herself anew. The battle against doubt would not wane. It was a continuous evolution rather than a one-time triumph. Days turned into weeks as Emily harnessed the momentum. The gallery not only showcased art, it became a crucible for lived experiences. Word of mouth transformed her idea into a movement, a gathering space for artists eager to share stories and navigate the messiness of their craft. In the next meeting, something magical transpired. More than expectations, a sense of belonging permeated the air. Participants brought their hopes, their struggles, and their aspirations forthrightly. These weren't mere exchanges of ideas, they were revelations of shared humanity. As walls disassembled around her, Emily began to see the impact she had initiated. She watched others blossom, unfurling their narratives in empowerment, much like her own flaws and brilliance intertwined. Each successful workshop brought palpable recognition, acknowledgement from the broader community, including local government backing her father's legacy with plans to fund her initiatives. The clout solidified her position and granted her newfound power, freedom from the chains of past ambiguity. Transformation rippled through her being. Emily stood solidified by the impact she was now making, not only preserving her father's dream but also establishing her own identity as a leader. She had conquered the doubts that once paralyzed her, and through her journey, she proved to herself that she was deserving of joy, respect, and influence. With her foundation secured, Emily heartily smiled at the thriving community she had nurtured. Reflecting on her metamorphosis, she could see how every fear had coalesced into resilience, every moment of hesitation transmogrified into fierce determination. The confrontation with herself and others had unveiled hidden depths. She had earned her rightful place at the helm of this project. Satisfied now, Emily gazed at the vibrant canvases that adorned the gallery walls. No longer merely expressions of art but depictions of dreams fulfilled and empowered voices rising. Dreams that echoed far beyond her father's vision. They metamorphosed into her own aspirations, shaping a legacy that would resonate for generations to come. Now is the time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support truly makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and theories about Emily's transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this extraordinary conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for powerful stories of personal overcoming. Don't wait even one more second to share.